What's up guys, it's Brad from LightArchitect. In this video, I want to share one way you can create more organic looking lighting within your 3D scene, and that is by using IES light files on your point lighting sources. Recently, I've been working on this underwater wreckage shot inside of Blender, and it was turning out pretty good. I have kind of this basic submarine wreckage on the bottom of this ocean floor that I've created here, and I wanted to actually add some lights to the submarine here as if there was still kind of some power to it, and it had just sunk to the bottom of the ocean, but there was just enough power in the submarine to get some light emitting from some spotlights maybe at the front of the submarine here. So as you can see here, I've added a few different point light sources here on the submarine, and I've also added a cube with a volumetric material on it so that any light that shines through this will actually catch some of that volume and then create a nice shape based on the pattern of the light source. You can see here, if I go into rendered view really quick, you can see here that the point lights that I've added to the submarine itself are creating a more organic looking shape than the standard spotlights that you would use inside of Blender. And that is by using IES files on the actual point light itself. So I'll show you guys what I mean here, in addition to a before and after using these IES files to add some more organic shapes to your light sources. But I'll just go into solid view really quick and maybe just turn off some of our scene here so we can add some of these lights from scratch, and you guys can get an idea on what these files can actually do for you in lighting your scenes more organically. So here we are on ieslibrary.com, where you can find a variety of these files to choose from to create more organic lights in your scene. And as you can see here, we have a brief description of why these are useful, as they describe how light from a lamp is distributed in a room. So these files are used in architectural renderings a lot because they're very accurate to how specific real-world lights distribute their data. So as you can see here, this is an example of what you can get with an IES file. And if we just go up here to browse, we can actually see a variety of files that we can download and create some interesting light patterns with basic point lights in our scene. So I've downloaded a few different variations of these files. So I think I used the Artemide SPA here. So for example, if I want to download this light and use it as a source inside of Blender, we just click it really quick, and then we can just click on download IES. You can go ahead and name your file and then save it, and then you can come back inside of Blender, and I'll go ahead and just add a plane to our scene, just scale it up, and then I'll duplicate this plane, rotate it 90 degrees, just so we have some kind of basic geometry here to place the light. And I'll just add a point light to our scene here, right where this wall is. So I'll press Shift A, we'll add a point light, and right now we'll have something, very simple. If we go into render view, also make sure you're in cycles, as these IES lights only work in cycles at the moment. Right now we just have a very basic light source on our wall here. We can go to the light settings and then, increase the power to 100. So this is a standard light source inside of Blender. We can also make it a spotlight and create some interesting shapes as well. And we can change, the spot size, the blending. We can change a variety of different settings with these basic lights inside of Blender, but these IES files are going to help you create a much more organic looking light. So in order to use them, we can just switch our light source back to the point setting, and then we're going to click on Use Nodes. And now I'm going to go to our shading tab, and now we have a node tree we can work with to create this light source. I'll press Shift A, I'll go to search, and then you can search for IES texture. So we'll add this, and then we'll click on external, because we're going to use an external file to load into our point light here. And then I'll just click on this open button right here, and now I will find that IES file that we have downloaded. So I've labeled it Artemide SPA.ies. Go ahead and accept that. And now we'll connect the factor into the strength setting. And now, as you can see here, if we go into rendered view, we have a more organic looking light pattern from this point source. And you can see that it's the same shape as the file that we have downloaded here. So at this point, you can change a variety of different settings to get to what you're going for. You can change it either on the power parameter here. So for example, we can bring this down to maybe 400 and it will decrease the intensity of our light source. Or you can also change it on the IES texture file here as well. So we can change the strength here to 2, and it'll double the strength of the light source here. And then you can also change the color of this light source as well with this emission control right here. So if we want to make it a little warmer, we can definitely do that here, give it a little bit more warm feel to our scene. And yeah, now you have a little bit more texture on the light source itself. And one more thing I want to show you guys that isn't as accurate as using IES files in the point light mode here, but is often a little bit easier to control where the light is going, just because you have a visual representation of where it's pointing. Because sometimes adjusting the direction of this point light by not knowing exactly where it's pointing can be a little bit confusing. So what I like to do sometimes is just switch the type of light source over to spot, and now you can see it still still has the same kind of general shape of the IES file. We can actually increase the spot size a bit, just so it's a little bit more like our original IES file in point mode. But at least now we can sort of see where the light is actually pointing in our scene. So this is a nice way you can, still utilize that IES file, but then you can actually more easily visualize where you're actually pointing the light source. For example, we want to point it up toward this corner here, create a little shape on the wall. I'm not sure why we would do this, but just for the sake of this tutorial, now we know which direction the light is pointing. We can switch back to our point mode. And now, as you can see here, it's going to be pointing in the same general direction as had we switched it to a spotlight source, but it's going to have that original IES pattern that we have downloaded and put onto this light source. And you can see the pattern from this light even better if you turn on some volumetrics in your scene. So I've just added a volume cube to our scene really quick. And now you can really see the distinct pattern that this will create on the actual volume within your scene itself. And that's one of the reasons why I've chosen to use these types of files in this underwater sequence, is because those volumetrics are so prevalent. We'll actually get the very distinct pattern from this file and create a more organic and interesting looking result. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. As always, feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or suggestions in the comment section below. Let us know what you'd like to learn next on the channel, and I'll see you next time.